Greetings everyone, I'm Logavani from Group 6 along with my teammates Muhammad Irham Aidid bin Sabri, Izuzuddin Mukmin bin Muhammad Jainuddin, Muhammad Saif Aiman bin Sadun. We'll be presenting to you our academic paper titled Should Stem Cells Be Used in Medicine? We chose to analyze and discuss stem cells with an aim that it might bring awareness to the public regarding stem cells and to shed light on the controversies surrounding the treatment. First and foremost, let me share with you the contents of our presentation. We will be starting off with an introduction of the topic of interest, stem cells, advantages and disadvantages, which happens to be our counter-argument, refutation, our stance on the topic, and finally a conclusion to sum up the whole presentation. We really hope that you'll be able to get along with us throughout this presentation. Stem cells are constantly being the heated debate among the society, owing to the fact that it is capable of making people live healthy and prolong one's lives. But what is a stem cell in the first place? Stem cells are cells from which all other cells with specialized functions are generated. Let me explain in detail how this process occurs. Stem cells are capable of substituting a damaged or diseased cell in the body by performing cell division mechanism. Stem cells can divide to form specific types of cells that readily exist in the body, which are known as specialized cells that carry out specific functions in the human body. So now we know what stem cells are, let's get familiar with the types of stem cells. There are three major types of stem cells, namely embryonic stem cell, adult stem cell, and induced pluripotent stem cells. Embryonic stem cells are extracted from early stage embryos. So now, can you relate to why the application of stem cells is controversial? Worry not, as we will get to know about it in detail further in our presentation. Next is adult stem cells. Adult stem cells are produced by bone marrow, an adult tissue which is a spongy substance found in the center of the bones. And finally, induced pluripotent stem cells are a type of pluripotent stem cell that has been generated using reprogramming methods from different somatic cell types. They have been reprogrammed to an embryonic stem cell-like state through the induction of genes and other stimuli. This finding became revolutionary as this method prevents putting the fetus life in danger.
Generally, stem cells are the new regenerative type in the modern era of medicine that can regenerate new cells in our body. Stem cells or their derivatives are used in stem cell treatment or regenerative medicine to promote the reparative response of dysfunctional, damaged, or unwell tissue. These cells are grown by researchers in a lab, where they are then modified to specialize in particular cell type, such as nerve, blood, or muscle cells. Afterwards, the cells can then be implanted into a person. For example, if that individual has cardiac problems, a doctor can administer the cells to the heart muscle in this situation. This therapy is an outpatient process that is rather quick and easy. Eventually, stem cells can be generated by differentiation process to a specific cell, such as one bone, cartilage, connective tissue, muscle, skin, retinal work, blood, and other variations of human cells, as Abaker said in 2018. Stem cells have been proven the quality of effectiveness by many clinical tests across the world. In particular, over 801 diseases have been treated with hematopoietic stem cells as HSC, as a Stem Life said in their article in 2020-21. The potential for stem cell application in the future increases as stem cell researchers advance. The disorders that are being studied in clinical trials are brain tumor, HIV, autism, Alzheimer's disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and a lot more.
Because stem cells have a high potential to develop into new tissues in the human body,
Stem cell therapies are suitable for use in a modern medicine because they will never run out of cell stock in the event that many patients require this type of treatment to repair and regenerate tissues that have been affected and damaged by disease. The disease such type 1 diabetes, Parkinson's disease, burn, spinal cord injuries, stroke, Alzheimer's disease, heart disease, and cancer that cause the tissue to be in a damaged state. As is well known, there are many patient treatments that are restricted in this area of medicine due to a scarcity of medical supplies, particularly when it comes to essential like blood and organs. In research, there are several sources of stem cell that we can take to use in these stem cell therapies such as embryonic stem cell, adult stem cells, and prenatal stem cells. Embryonic stem cells, which the doctor extract from blastocysts inside of female bodies. At this point, these embryos are 3 to 5 days old and have 150 cells. 150 cells contain pluripotent stem cells which can differentiate into other stem cells or into any type of body cell, including the heart and liver. Embryonic stem cells can be employed to restore or regenerate injured or harmed tissue and organ since pluripotent stem cells have this ability. Researchers hypothesize that adult stem cells can produce similar sorts of cells to embryonic stem cells when compared to their limited level found in fat and bone marrow, which have a reduced capacity to produce different body cells. Blood cells can be created in high number in the bone marrow. Due to its connection to blood cells, researchers employ this adult stem cell to test in patients with heart disease. Prenatal stem cells is the cells just before and after birth. Prenatal and postnatal stem cells are two types of these cells. This type of cells have the ability to form or change into specialized cells. For example, amniotic fluid with yellowish liquid that fills in the sac and surrounds the fetus during pregnancy for protection. These stem cells from amniotic fluid function for testing or treatment that are called as amniocentesis. Therefore, this stem cell therapy is useful for the medical field nowadays, whether for treatment or research, because these capable stem cells are easily obtained from various sources from the human body itself.
One of the benefits is treating patients with currently untreatable conditions. Stem cell-based therapies are defined as any treatment for a disease or medical condition that use any form of viable human stem cell. Nowadays, with an advanced technology which opens the door to a plethora of revolutionary and potentially curative remedies for some of humanity's most deadly diseases. For example, the Japanese researchers discovered that injecting stem cells from the patient's bone marrow can let them regain some sensation and motion. This is the first stem cell-based therapy to be approved by the government for use in individuals with spinal cord injury. I hope that in the near future, stem cell-based therapies shall significantly impact human health.
On the other hand, there are negative parts that can be derived from stem cell therapies in medicine. There is complexity of these therapies, which many people believe and describe these stem cell therapies as an unethical experiment. This is because of increasing the numbers of users who are not fully tested or even untested cell therapies from year to year. The patient needs to bear a high risk of stem cell treatment due to not being fully tested, such as tumor formation and postoperative infection. Not only that, the patient also needs to pay the medical bills even it's a trial. Patients generally do not have to pay out the cost to be part of a trial for any treatment because the clinical trial sponsors all the service. But different for stem cell treatment, where the patient has to pay for himself the cost of a treatment. For example, the cost of an injection intra-articular of a stem cell it's at least $9,000, or in Malaysia, it's almost 40k ringgit Malaysia. excluding the cost of consultation by a health professional, cell storage, and subsequent therapy. The public has to be made aware of the potential risks associated with getting stem cell treatment for which there is no safety or efficacy data. As a conclusion, by oppressing the patient by not providing the best service and even asking them to bear the funding for the experimental trial, causing the image of stem cell therapies to be bad.
Our second counter-argument under the topic sentence of complexity of the treatment is efficiency issues. There are several major causes that contribute to poor reliability of the stem cell treatment. Among them is low survival and engraftment rates. Engraftment is when the cells received during transplantation start to grow and make healthy cells. Stem cells appear to fail to grow and make healthy cells. Correlate with that, the second cause of poor reliability of stem cell treatment is that the implanted stem cells do not survive due to immunological rejection. This is because the human body recognizes stem cells as foreign objects. Thirdly, post-transplant problems are the essence of efficiency issues in stem cell treatment. Stem cells might be transported to undesirable places, medically known as ectopic places. This will eventually pose a high risk of tumor formation. Lastly, illegal and unapproved stem cell treatment are also widely practiced nowadays. This causes the treatment to be ineffective and harmful. Consequently, such illegal and unapproved stem cell treatment threatens to undermine the reputation of real therapies that have yet to be launched and promotes misunderstandings about current scientific and clinical progress.
Stem cells should not be widely used around the medical world since this treatment has several side effects. To make you clear, the first thing that can happen from this stem cell treatment is bleeding, according to Lee 2016. Since the platelet rate is low following a stem cell transplant, bleeding can easily occur. This will lower the progress of the blood to clot. Some people experience a severe bleeding disorder, commonly called hemorrhage. Anemia can develop when the red blood cell count is too low. Platelet transfusions may be needed until the transplanted stem cell begin to function, especially the first months after transplantation. In addition, another drawback of this treatment is the effects of anemia. Anemia is characterized by a decrease in red blood cell count and a decrease in hemoglobin concentration in blood cell. Hemoglobin is an oxygen-carrying component of red blood cells. Low hemoglobin levels deprive body tissues of oxygen and prevent them to functioning properly. On the other side, there's also patients who experience severe hair loss and skin problems. Skin issues can caused by the pre-transplant treatment and GVHD when some chemotherapy medications and total irradiation TBI are used. This is a typical adverse effect. Rashes, itching, blisters, and peeling skin are all examples of skin issues. The medical staff will instruct you on how to take care of your skin. To help control skin disorders, medicated cream or ointments as well as other medications may be prescribed. Temporary hair loss may also occur as a result of therapies administered before the transplant. Hair loss is rarely irreversible. After the transplant, it normally grows back in 3 to 6 months.
We have already seen the advantages and disadvantages of stem cells. In this case, the utilization of stem cells is more helpful to the entire human race than the current red deprivation. As a result, we all believe that the use of stem cells in medicine is a valuable technology and does not violate human ethics if used in the right way. For example, stem cells can cure untreatable diseases. Of course, everything has its drawbacks. Stem cells are a new technology and require many more studies and improvements. For the conclusions, stem cell therapy has its own pros and cons. Neither pros nor cons of the discussed therapy should be left out of attention, whereas more advanced research in the field should be practiced. In addition, besides the overall advantages to be gained from the therapy, an individual personal preference should be taken into consideration too. For instance, people's personal belief and religious aspect are equally vital to be able to make stem cell therapy become a holistic approach to society. Ultimately, the success of the stem cell therapy application in real life lies on the hands of the people.